discussion time. So the trailer just dropped a couple days ago for Spider-Man No Way Home, and honestly, I am really excited. I think this is the most exciting thing related to the MCU that I've seen in a while, but I want to discuss things with you guys down below in the comments, so let me know your thoughts. I want to talk about how the timelines could potentially sync up for the three different Spider-Man, live-action Spider-Man that we've seen in the last, 20 years. And so Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. There's so many Toms with H's as last name. Tom Hanks, Tom Hiddleston, Tom Holland. Anyway, so I want to talk about where those timelines could potentially... So whether you're speculating or you have some kind of... if you have rationale behind it or maybe some insider information or something, share it and let's talk. But some people are saying that Marvel is going to... I'm driving right now, so apologies for the background noise. Marvel is going to use their de-aging technology to basically make it where Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland are all relatively close in age. Basically, we're going to take Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire back to when we last saw them playing Spider-Man. And the same would also apply for, is it Alfred Molina, the guy who plays Doc Ock, who we do see in the trailer, and he does look similar in age to when we last saw him in Spider-Man 2. And then also for Willem Dafoe, who is got to be pretty damn old now. So we know that Marvel and Disney have the technology to do so. They've done it many times. They've done it with Samuel L. Jackson. They've done it with Michael Douglas. The list goes on. But do you think that's the approach they're going to do? Do you think we're going to have the timeline sync up at a similar point to when we last saw them? Basically, is Tom Holland going to interfere in the story arcs that we've already seen? Or is this going to be something entirely new? Now, personally, I hope it's something entirely new. And what I mean by that is they're messing with space-time continuums. And to me, I think it could, if the writing was done properly, it could absolutely play out to where maybe Dr. Octavius never actually died. Maybe the events of Spider-Man 2 didn't happen as they did in the movie that we saw. So in that world, in that realm, universe, whatever you want to call it, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Dr. Octavius had a different outcome from the events that we saw. And Dr. Octavius, yes, he's a little older, but he is still going around doing his villain thing. And maybe Willem Dafoe also, as Norman Osborn, didn't die in the events of the first movie. So he's a much older version of Norman Osborn. Personally, I think that would be so cool to see a totally fresh and new storyline. Okay, let me rephrase that. It wouldn't be totally fresh and new, but it would be an alternate ending or a totally different interpretation, a different take of a storyline that we're all very familiar with and most of us are very fond of. Now, I'm not as familiar. I watched them, but I think I only watched them like once, and it was a while ago. So I don't really remember a ton about the Andrew Garfield movies, but I think Jamie Foxx is a great actor, so hopefully there's some redemption coming for him playing Electro. But do you think they're going to have the timelines? Because you got to think, Peter Parker, when he's introduced in every iteration, he is a high schooler, and then in the Tobey Maguire one, we see him in college and stuff. But he's a young man, so late teens through his early to, I'd say mid-20s at the latest. So are we going to see all these Peter Parkers in their late teens, early 20s? Because, yes, they can de-age them, but you got to think, Tobey Maguire's got to be what, like in his 40s now, I would imagine? So it could work, but I kind of personally hope that... Think about the approach that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse did, where you see a Spider-Man that definitely resembles, with the backstory, resembles the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man that we're all fond of, but he's a much older, out of shape, kind of depressed version. Like, that would be so much fucking cooler to take that approach and just see a totally different spin on it. And then if you have these classic villains that have just been, rampaging and doing their thing for years, as opposed to just like days or weeks, which it seems like that was the case in the first two Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. It would just be a much bigger problem for these guys to have to like work together to solve. Like, I think that would be so cool. But again, let me know what you think is going to happen and what you want to happen. Do you want aged Spider-Men in the multiverse? So Tom Holland is meeting two much more mature, older Spider-Men, potentially, you know, again, Tobey Maguire being kind of maybe a little washed up and just like he's had a rough go. Or do you want them to be de-aged and have all three of these guys being kids, essentially, you know, or like late teens, early 20s, like I said. Let me know what you want. Let me know what you think is going to happen and why. I'll talk to you guys soon. I'm really excited for this movie, so we'll probably do a trailer breakdown eventually in the next couple days. But and I've got something else that's related to the Spider-Man story and connecting it to something else we discuss on this channel. So stay tuned. That'll be a lot of fun. Talk to you later. Bye.